A lion's desperate plea at a Savannah Lodge door sparks a family's fight against ruthless poachers. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell to catch our latest thrilling stories. A deafening roar shattered the morning calm, the Harris family's breakfast table lurching as a massive male lion slammed its paws against the lodge's glass door, its mane a wild halo under the African sun, its amber eyes boring into James Harris's soul. The wooden floor shook, plates crashing, coffee spilling, as Clara's scream cut through the chaos, her fork clattering, her gaze locked on a bloodied lion cub collapsing beside the beast, its leg mangled by a poacher's trap, metal teeth glinting in the wound. Lily, their 10-year-old daughter, froze, her spoon halfway to her mouth, her braids swinging as she whispered, "That's my cub," recognizing the playful creature she'd watched near the Savannah fence for days. James lunged for the hunting rifle by the wall, his heart thundering, instincts screaming to drive the lion back. But Clara's hand clamped his wrist, her nurse's eyes spotting the cub's desperate tremble. The lion's low growl not a threat, but a plea. "It's begging." "James," she hissed, her voice sharp, already scrambling for the medical kit, bandages spilling across the counter. The lion's massive head lowered, its eyes shifting to Lily, who crept closer to the door. Ignoring James's bark, "Stay back," her small hands pressed against the glass, her breath fogging it. "It knows me," she said, her voice steady, a spark of defiance in her fear. The lion's growl softened, its body still, but a sudden crack split the air, a rifle shot, the bullet smashing the window beside the door, glass shards raining over Lily. Clara yanked her daughter down, her scream drowned by the lion's bellow, its paws pounding the porch, shielding the cub. James dove to the floor, rifle in hand, his eyes catching a glint in the savanna grass. A poacher, his scarf fluttering, reloading a high-powered rifle, his scope now aimed at the lodge's door. "They're hunting them," Clara gasped, crawling to Lily, her hands shaking as she checked for cuts. The cub's whimpers grew fainter, blood pooling on the porch, and the lion roared again, its body coiling, ready to charge the unseen threat. James's mind raced, locking the door might save his family, but it would doom the cub. And that poacher wasn't alone. A second shadow moved in the grass, another rifle glinting, their steps crunching closer. "We can't leave it to die," Lily pleaded, her eyes blazing, crawling toward the door despite the glass crunching under her knees. Clara nodded, her hands already ripping open antiseptic packets, her voice firm. "James, open the door. I can save it." James's jaw clenched, the rifle heavy, his eyes flicking to the poachers, now visible, their faces masked, their rifles raised. The lion's eyes met his, a strange trust in their depths, and James made his choice. Kicking the door wide, the hinges screaming, the lion didn't lunge, and it stepped aside, its body a wall between the cub and the savanna, its growl a warning to the poachers. Clara slid onto the porch, her kit open, her hands steady as she cut the trap's wire, blood spraying her arms, the cub's weak growl breaking her heart. Lily hovered behind, whispering, "Hold on," her voice a lifeline. James stood guard, rifle raised, his pulse hammering as the first poacher fired again, the bullet splintering the porch railing inches from Clara's head. "Hurry," he shouted, firing a warning shot into the grass, the recoil jarring his shoulder. The lion roared, charging toward the savanna, its massive form a blur as it barreled into the grass, forcing the poachers to scatter, their shouts echoing. Clara worked faster, wrapping the cub's leg, her hands slick with blood, the cub's eyes fluttering. The second poacher regrouped, his rifle aimed at James, who dove behind the doorframe, glass crunching under him. "They're not just after the lions," he yelled, realizing the poacher's shots were targeting the lodge. Their intent clear, they'd seen the family helping the cub. Clara yanked the last bandage tight, the cub stirring, and pulled Lily back inside, her voice sharp. James, get in. He scrambled back, slamming the door, the lock clicking as another bullet tore through the wall, dust exploding. The lion's roar shook the savannah, its form visible through the shattered window, fighting off the poachers, buying the family time. Clara clutched Lily, her hands bloodied, her eyes wide. "They know we're involved," she whispered, her voice trembling. Lily's face hardened, her small fist clenched. "We're saving them, no matter what." The cub's weak growl echoed from the porch, the lion's battle cries ringing outside, and the poachers' footsteps grew louder, their shadows closing in. The lodge was a trap, the family's choice to help the cub a spark in a powder keg, and the savannah a battlefield where survival hung on a fragile thread of trust between man and beast. James Harris's hands shook as he gripped the hunting rifle, his back pressed against the lodge's splintered door, the air thick with the scent of blood and gunpowder, the lion's roars still echoing from the savannah where it battled the poachers. Clara knelt on the floor, her hands slick with the cub's blood, her medical kit splayed across the wooden planks as she tightened the bandage on the lion cub's leg, its weak growls barely audible over Lily's rapid breaths. The 10-year-old hovered close, her braids swinging, her eyes darting between the cub and the shattered window, where the African dawn cast jagged shadows of the grass outside. The poachers' gunfire had stopped, but their footsteps crunched in the distance, their voices low and angry, regrouping for another assault. James's pulse hammered, his eyes scanning the lodge's interior, its rustic walls now a fragile shield against the danger closing in. "Clara, we can't keep it here," he hissed, his voice low, the rifle's weight grounding him as he peeked through a bullet hole in the door, spotting a poacher's scarf fluttering in the grass. Clara didn't look up, her fingers threading a suture, her nurse's focus unshaken. "It'll die if we don't," she snapped, her voice steady but edged with fear, the cub's trembling body under her hands a ticking clock. Lily crawled to the window, ignoring James's sharp, "Get down," her small hands clutching the sill as she whispered, "He's still out there." Her voice a mix of awe and terror, picturing the lion's massive form tearing through the savannah. A sudden thud shook the lodge, a rock smashing through another window, glass spraying across the table, and Clara yanked Lily back, her arm shielding the girl as the cub whimpered. Startled, "They're testing us," James muttered, his eyes narrowing, realizing the poachers weren't just hunting the lions they wanted, the family's silence for interfering. Clara finished the suture, wiping her hands on her shirt, her eyes meeting James's. "We need to move it inside," she said, nodding to the cub, her voice firm despite the chaos. James hesitated, the rifle's barrel twitching as he heard a poacher shout. Closer now, their boots crunching just beyond the fence. The lion's roars grew fainter, its fight buying them time, but not much. "Lily, help your mom," he ordered, his voice tight, moving to the door to drag the cub's small, trembling body across the threshold, its blood smearing the floor. Clara and Lily pulled the cub into the lodge's storeroom, a cramped space lined with canned goods and tools, its single bulb flickering. The cub's eyes fluttered, its breath shallow, but it nuzzled Lily's hand, a flicker of trust that broke Clara's heart. "Stay with it," Clara told Lily, rushing to the lodge's satellite phone, her fingers fumbling as she dialed a conservation team she'd met weeks ago, their number scrawled on a crumpled note. The line crackled, a voice answering, and Clara whispered, "We need help, poachers. A wounded cub. Our lodge." Her words cut off by a burst of static, the signal weak. She prayed the message got through, slamming the phone down as another rock hit the lodge, this time cracking the wall. James crouched by the door, his rifle aimed through a gap, his breath steadying as he spotted two poachers advancing, their rifles glinting, one holding a radio, barking orders. "They've got backup," he muttered, his stomach twisting. These weren't lone hunters, but a crew, organized and ruthless. Lily's gasp pulled his attention. She'd slipped to the storeroom door, her eyes wide, pointing to muddy boot prints outside the window. Fresh, circling the lodge. They were here, she whispered, her voice shaking, clutching a small knife she'd grabbed from the tool rack. Clara pulled her back, her face pale, realizing the poachers had scouted them while the lion distracted them. The cub's growl grew stronger, its bandaged leg twitching, and Clara's resolve hardened. "We're not giving up," she said, grabbing a crowbar from the storeroom, her eyes blazing. A low hum broke the tension of Jeep's engine, faint but growing louder, and James's hope flared, thinking the conservation team had arrived. But the vehicle stopped short, its doors slamming, and a new voice shouted in a language he didn't understand, followed by the clank of metal. More poachers, or worse. Local rangers enforcing the lion kill order after a tourist death. James's grip tightened, his eyes meeting Clara's. "If it's rangers, they'll shoot the cub," he said, his voice grim, knowing the lodge's bullet-riddled state would raise questions they couldn't answer. Clara nodded, shoving the satellite phone into her pocket, its battery dead. Her message to the conservation team, their only lifeline. The lion's roars returned, closer now, its massive form crashing through the grass, bloodied but unbowed, scattering the poacher's line. "He's back!" Lily cried, her voice a spark. But the Jeep's headlights swept the lodge, pinning them in a harsh glow. James fired a shot into the air, the crack echoing, hoping to stall. But the poachers returned fire, bullets tearing through the walls, wood splintering. Clara dove to the floor, shielding Lily, the crowbar still in her hand, while the cub's growl rose, its small body struggling to stand. James reloaded, his hand steady. But the Jeep's engine roared, circling closer, its occupants shouting, their intent clear to wipe out the lions and anyone protecting them. Clara crawled to the storeroom, checking the cub's bandage, her mind racing for a plan, the satellite phone's silence deafening. Lily clutched her knife, her eyes fierce, whispering, "We're its family now." Her words a vow. The lion's roar shook the lodge, its paws pounding outside, a guardian against the storm. But the poachers' gunfire grew relentless, their shadows converging, the Jeep's lights blinding. The family was cornered, the cub's life their burden, their choice to save it a spark in a deadly game, and the savannah a crucible where trust and survival hung by a thread. Night cloaked the Savannah Lodge, the air heavy with the scent of smoke and blood, the lion's distant roars a fading shield against the poachers' relentless advance. James Harris crouched by the bullet-riddled door, his hunting rifle steady, his eyes straining through the darkness. The Jeep's headlights now dimmed, but its engine still humming, a predator circling the grass. Clara clutched the crowbar, her hands stained with the lion cub's blood, her heart pounding as she guarded the storeroom where Lily sat beside the cub, its bandaged leg trembling, its soft growls a spark of life in the suffocating tension. The 10-year-old's knife lay beside her, her small frame rigid, her eyes fixed on the cub, whispering, "You're gonna make it," as if her words could defy the chaos outside. The poachers' gunfire had paused, their shouts replaced by eerie silence. But James knew better than to trust it. Their tracks circled the lodge. Their radios crackled in the distance, and the Jeep's presence meant they weren't alone. Clara's satellite phone lay dead in her pocket, her desperate call to the conservation team unanswered, the weak signal a cruel taunt. "They're planning something," James muttered, his voice low, his rifle's barrel twitching as a shadow flickered in the grass. Too deliberate to be the wind. Clara nodded, her crowbar raised, her nurse's calm fraying as she glanced at the storeroom, Lily's silhouette barely visible under the flickering bulb. "We need to hide the cub better," she whispered, her mind racing the rangers. If they were out there, would shoot it on sight, and the poachers would kill them all to keep their hunt secret. James's eyes flicked to the storeroom, then back to the door, his jaw tight. "There's a trap door under the rug. Old smuggling route. We can move it there." Clara's breath caught. The idea risky, but their only chance to keep the cubs safe. She crawled to the storeroom, her crowbar scraping the floor, and whispered to Lily, "Help me move him." Lily nodded, her small hands gentle as she lifted the cub's head, its eyes fluttering, its body heavy but stirring. They dragged the rug aside, revealing a dusty trapdoor, its hinges rusted but functional. James kept watch, his rifle aimed through a bullet hole, his pulse spiking as the Jeep's engine roared suddenly, its headlights sweeping the lodge, pinning them in a blinding glare. "They're coming," he hissed, his finger on the trigger, ready to fire. Clara yanked the trapdoor open, its creak drowned by the Jeep's rumble, and helped Lily lower the cub into the dark, damp space below, its walls lined with dirt and cobwebs. The cub whimpered, but Lily's soothing whispers kept it calm, her knife tucked into her belt, her courage afire in the gloom. Clara followed, her crowbar clutched, the storeroom bulb flickering out as she closed the trapdoor, plunging them into darkness. James stayed above, his rifle steady, but a new sound froze him boots, heavy and deliberate, crunching just outside the lodge, followed by a low whistle. A signal. The poachers weren't just circling, they were breaching. A window shattered at the lodge's rear, glass spraying, and James spun, firing a shot into the dark, the recoil jarring his shoulder. A man's curse echoed, followed by a thud, but more footsteps came, faster now, from multiple directions. "Clara, stay down," he shouted, diving behind the counter, his rifle reloading as the door rattled. Someone testing the lock. Below, Clara's flashlight beam cut through the trapdoor's gloom, her heart pounding as she checked the cub's bandage, its breath stronger but weak. Lily's eyes were wide, her knife gleaming, her voice steady. "What if they find us?" Clara's grip tightened, her crowbar ready. "They won't," she lied, praying the conservation team had gotten her message. The trapdoor shook, James's boots scraping above, and Clara's breath hitched as a new voice broke through a man's, gruff and commanding. Outside the lodge. "This is Ranger Patel." Opened the door, James's stomach sank the Rangers. Enforcing the lion kill order. We're worse than poachers in this moment. He crawled to the door, his rifle lowered but ready, and cracked it open, his voice firm. "We've got poachers out here. Patel, help us, and we'll explain." Patel's flashlight swept the lodge, his face stern, his pistol drawn. "You're harboring a lion. Harris, step aside." James's mind raced, his lie forming fast. "No lions here, just us, under attack." Patel's eyes narrowed, his radio crackling, but a sudden roar split the night. The lion, bloodied and fierce, charging from the grass, slamming into a poacher who'd crept too close. His scream cut short. The Rangers shouted, their guns raised, but James slammed the door, locking it, his heart pounding. "They'll kill it," he muttered, crawling to the trapdoor, whispering, "Clara, Rangers are here. Keep quiet." Below, Clara's flashlight dimmed, her crowbar raised. The cub's growls soft but steady. Lily clutched her knife, her eyes fierce, but a new sound chilled them, a faint beep, rhythmic, coming from the storeroom above. Clara's blood ran cold, her flashlight sweeping the trapdoor's edge, spotting a small device taped to the wall, a tracker, planted by the poachers. "They know exactly where we are," she whispered, her voice trembling. The beep, a countdown to disaster. The lion's roars grew louder, the ranger's shouts chaotic, and the poacher's gunfire erupted again. Bullets tearing through the lodge's walls, wood splintering. James fired back, his shots wild, buying time. But the tracker's beep was relentless. The poachers closing in, the Rangers a new threat, and the cub's life a fragile thread in a night of secrets and betrayal. The Savannah Lodge shuddered under a barrage of gunfire, bullets tearing through the walls, wood splintering as James Harris dove behind the counter, his hunting rifle slick with sweat, the tracker's relentless beeping in the trap door below, a death knell echoing in his ears. Clara crouched in the dark hovel beneath the storeroom, her crowbar gripped tightly, her flashlight beam fixed on the lion cub's trembling form, its bandaged leg twitching as Lily whispered encouragements, her small knife gleaming in the gloom, her 10-year-old courage a spark against the suffocating fear. The cub's growls were faint, its eyes half open, but alive, a fragile hope in the chaos. Outside, the lion's roars clashed with the ranger's shouts and the poacher's gunfire. The night a battlefield where trust was their only shield. The Jeep's engine roared, its headlights slicing through the shattered windows, pinning the lodge in a blinding glare. And James's heart pounded as he realized the poachers weren't just attacking, they were closing in, their radios crackling with orders, their boots crunching closer. "Clara, they're breaching," he shouted, firing a shot through a bullet hole, the recoil jarring his shoulder, the bullet grazing a poacher's arm, his curse cutting through the din. Clara's breath hitched, her eyes darting to the trapdoor above. The tracker's beep now a scream in the silence between gunshots. "Lily, stay with the cub," she whispered, crawling to the trapdoor's edge, her crowbar prying at the tracker, its wires sparking as she ripped it free, crushing it under her boot. But the damage was done. The poachers knew their position. A sudden crash shook the lodge, the back door splintering as a poacher's boot kicked it in, his silhouette looming. Rifle raised, James spun, firing, the shot hitting the man's shoulder, dropping him. But more shadows moved outside, their gunfire relentless, bullets shredding the walls. The power cut out, plunging the lodge into darkness. The Jeep's headlights, the only light, casting eerie shadows. Clara scrambled up through the trapdoor, her crowbar swinging as a poacher lunged from the storeroom, his knife glinting. She parried, the metal clanging, and drove her knee into his gut, sending him sprawling, his knife skidding across the floor. "James, we're trapped," she gasped, grabbing the lodge's hunting rifle from the wall, its weight unfamiliar but steadying. Lily's voice rose from below. "Mom, he's waking up." The cub's growls stronger, its small body stirring. But Clara had no time to check. The poacher's shouts closing in, their Jeep now ramming the fence, wood cracking. James's mind raced, his eyes spotting a hidden panel in the kitchen wall, an old smuggling tunnel, barely wide enough for a child. "Lily, get to the tunnel," he shouted, crawling to the trap door, his rifle firing to cover Clara as she dragged Lily up. The cub left in the hovel, its growls a faint echo. Lily resisted, her knife clutched. "We can't leave him," but Clara shoved her toward the kitchen, her voice fierce. "We'll come back for him." The tunnel's entrance creaked open, its air damp and cold, and James pushed Lily inside, her small frame vanishing into the dark, her knife scraping the walls. "Find the exit. Wait for us," he ordered, his heart breaking at her terrified nod. Clara stayed above, her rifle raised, firing at a poacher who'd breached the front door, the shot grazing his leg, forcing him back. The lion's roar erupted, closer now, its massive form slamming into the Jeep, metal screeching as it tipped, headlights flickering, the poacher's screams rising. "He's fighting for us," Clara whispered, her rifle trembling, but the ranger's voices cut through, Patel shouting, "Take down that lion," their guns firing, bullets whizzing past the lodge. James dove to Clara's side, his rifle empty, his hands grabbing a machete from the counter. "We hold them off," he said, his voice steel. But a new threat emerged, a poacher leader, taller, his face scarred, stepping through the back door, a pistol in hand, his eyes cold. "You should have stayed out of it," he sneered, aiming at Clara. She fired, the shot missing, the rifle jamming, and the leader lunged, his pistol whipping across her face, blood spraying. Clara staggered, her crowbar swinging wildly, catching his arm, but he was stronger, pinning her against the wall. James charged, his machete slashing, cutting the leader's shoulder, forcing him to drop the pistol. The leader roared, tackling James, their bodies crashing into the counter, dishes shattering. Clara scrambled for the pistol, her vision blurring, her hands closing around it as another poacher breached. His rifle aimed at James, she fired, the bullet hitting his chest, dropping him. But the leader was back, his knife drawn, slashing at James's arm, blood welling. The lion's roar shook the lodge, its form visible through the window, bloodied but unyielding, shattering the poachers outside, giving the family a fleeting chance. Clara pulled James free, her pistol raised, but the leader vanished into the chaos, his laughter chilling. The Rangers' gunfire grew closer, their flashlights sweeping, and Clara's heart sank if they found the cub. It was over. Lily's out. James gasped, blood dripping from his arm, his machete still in hand. Clara nodded, her pistol steady, the lodge a ruin, the cub's growls faint below, the lion's roars a lifeline. The poachers regrouped, their radios buzzing, the jeep's engines starting again, and the Rangers' shouts grew louder, their guns a new threat. The family was cornered, the tunnel their only hope, the cub's life their burden, and the savannah a crucible where every second was a fight for survival. The Savannah Lodge groaned under the weight of the siege, its walls pockmarked with bullet holes, the air thick with smoke and the lion's relentless roars, a beacon of defiance against the poacher's onslaught. James Harris staggered to his feet, blood dripping from the gash on his arm, the machete in his hand slick with sweat as he shielded Clara, her pistol trembling, her face bloodied from the poacher leader's blow. The storeroom's trap door lay open, the lion cub's faint growls rising from the hovel below, a fragile spark of life in the chaos, while Lily was somewhere in the smuggling tunnel, her small frame carrying the family's hope. The poacher's Jeep engine roared outside, its headlights flickering through the shattered windows, their radios crackling with orders, their gunfire sporadic but deadly, answered by the Rangers' shouts, their flashlights sweeping the grass, a dual threat closing in. Clara's eyes darted to the trapdoor, her heart pounding she'd sent Lily to safety. But the cub was still here, its life their burden, and the poacher leader's chilling laughter lingered, his escape a promise of retaliation. "James, we can't hold them much longer," she gasped, her pistol raised, firing a shot through a bullet hole, the recoil jarring her bruised shoulder, the bullet grazing a poacher's leg, his curse echoing. James nodded, his machete gleaming, his arm throbbing, but his resolve unbroken. "We draw them away from the cub," he said, his voice low, crawling to the kitchen, spotting a gas canister by the stove, an idea desperate but possible. The lion's roar erupted, closer now, its massive form crashing through the grass, slamming into a poacher. His scream cut short, the jeep swerving to avoid the beast. "He's giving us time," Clara whispered, her pistol steady. But the Ranger's gunfire grew louder, Patel's voice barking. "Take that lion down," their bullets whizzing past the lodge, one grazing the wall, dust exploding. James grabbed the canister, his hands shaking, and rolled it toward the front door, his machete slashing the valve, gas hissing. "Clara, cover me," he said, lighting a match, the flame flickering as he tossed it, the canister igniting, a fireball erupting, shaking the lodge, the blast scattering the poachers, their shouts chaotic. The jeep veered, crashing into the fence, metal screeching, but the poacher leader's voice rose, rallying his men, their gunfire resuming, bullets tearing through the walls. Clara fired back, her pistol's clip nearly empty, her eyes flicking to the trap door. She had to check the cub. But James was exposed, his machete swinging as a poacher breaches the side window. His rifle aimed. She dove, tackling the man, her crowbar smashing his wrist, the rifle clattering. But another poacher lunged, his knife slashing her arm, blood welling. James roared, his machete cutting the man's shoulder, dropping him. But the effort cost him. his wounded arm buckling, his body slumping. The lion's bellow shook the night, its form leaping onto the Jeep's hood, claws raking metal, the driver screaming as it tipped. Headlights dying, Clara dragged James behind the counter, her pistol raised, but the Rangers were closer, their flashlights pinning the lodge. Patel shouting, "Surrender." Harris James's breath was ragged, his eyes fierce. "They'll kill the cub!" He gasped, blood pooling, his machete still gripped. Clara's mind raced, her hand brushing the dead satellite phone, her call to the conservation team a fading hope. A rustle came from the kitchen, the tunnel's panel creaked, and Lily's head emerged, her knife gleaming, her face pale but determined. "I found the exit," she whispered, crawling out, her braid caked with dirt. "But they're outside it." Clara's heart sank. The poachers had cut off their escape. The tunnel a trap. The cub's growl rose from below, stronger now, its small voice a call to fight, and Lily's eyes blazed. "We can't leave him," she said, grabbing a rope from the counter, her hands moving fast, tying a lasso, an idea forming. "We trapped them," she said, her voice steady, pointing to the storeroom's rafters. Clara nodded, her pistol covering as Lily climbed, her small frame nimble, looping the rope, a makeshift snare for the next poacher. James struggled to his feet, his machete raised, his arm bleeding heavily, but the lion's roar gave him strength, its fight a mirror of his own. A poacher breached the back door, his rifle swinging. But Lily dropped the rope, the snare catching his leg, yanking him up, his gun firing wildly, bullets hitting the ceiling. Clara fired her last shot, grazing his arm, dropping him, but the poacher leader was back, his scar glinting, a Molotov cocktail in hand, its flame flickering. "Burn it down," he shouted, hurling it, the bottle smashing, fire spreading across the lodge's floor, smoke choking the air. James dove, shoving Clara and Lily toward the trapdoor, flames licking the walls. The cub's growls urgent below. The lion charged the leader, its jaws clamping his leg, dragging him into the grass. His screams fading, but the fire grew, the lodge a furnace. Clara pulled Lily into the hovel, James following. His machete dropped, his body weak, the cub nuzzling Lily, its strength returning. The Rangers' shouts were muffled, their gunfire aimed at the lion, and Clara's tears fell, her hand on James's wound. The conservation team's absence a crushing weight. The cub's roar, small but fierce, echoed, a call to survive. And Clara's resolve hardened she'd protect her family, the cub, the lion. No matter the fate, as the flames roared above, the poachers closed in, and the savannah burned with their defiance. Flames roared through the Savannah Lodge, the air choked with smoke, the walls buckling as Clara Harris pressed herself against the hovel's dirt wall, her arms around Lily, the lion cub's warm body nestled between them, its growls fierce despite its wounds. James slumped beside her, his arm bleeding heavily, his breaths shallow, the machete lost in the inferno above, the fire's heat seeping through the trapdoor, a relentless predator in the night. The lion's roars echoed outside, its massive form a shadow in the grass, battling poachers and dodging Rangers' bullets, its defiance a lifeline for the family trapped below. The poachers' shouts grew louder, their boots stomping through the burning lodge, their radios crackling with fury. The leader's absence a fleeting victory overshadowed by the fire's spread. Clara's pistol was empty, her crowbar slick with sweat, her eyes stinging as she whispered to Lily, "Stay strong," her voice steady despite the terror clawing her chest. The 10-year-old clutched her knife, her braids singed, her face smudged with soot, her eyes fixed on the cub, its bandaged leg twitching, its small roar a spark of hope. The trapdoor rattled, a poacher's boot kicking it, and Clara's heart lurched, her crowbar raised, ready to fight. But a deafening bellow shook the ground the lion. charging through the flames, its mane ablaze, slamming into the poacher, his screams swallowed by the fire. The hovel's air grew thick, smoke seeping through the cracks, and James stirred, his voice weak but urgent. "We can't stay here," he gasped, his hand pressing his wound, blood oozing between his fingers. Clara nodded, her mind racing. The tunnel Lily had escaped through was their only chance. But the poachers had blocked it, their jeep now a wreck. Thanks to the lion, the cub's growl grew louder, its eyes open, its strength returning, and Lily's voice broke through. "He's ready to fight." Her words a vow. Clara grabbed the cub, its body heavy but alive, and pushed the trap door, flames licking the storeroom above. The lodge a furnace. "Go!" she shouted, shoving Lily up, the girl scrambling, her knife gleaming, the cub in Clara's arms, James crawling behind, his face pale but determined. The storeroom was an inferno, shelves collapsing, and Clara dove through, shielding the cub, her skin burning as embers fell. A poacher emerged from the smoke, his rifle raised, but Lily threw her knife, the blade catching his hand, forcing him to drop the gun, his curse lost in the roar of the flames. Clara fired a flare gun from the storeroom's rack, the bright arc slicing the night, a desperate signal to the conservation team, its light illuminating the savannah, exposing three poachers advancing, their rifles glinting. The lion roared, leaping from the grass, its claws raking one man's back, sending him sprawling, the others scattering, their shots wild. James staggered to his feet, grabbing a broken chair leg, swinging it at a poacher who lunged, the wood cracking against his skull, dropping him. The ranger's shouts grew closer, Patel's voice barking, "Cease fire," their flashlights sweeping, but their guns still aimed at the lion, a bullet grazing its flank, blood spraying. Clara's flare burned in the scout, a beacon, and she pushed Lily toward the tunnel's entrance, the cub's weight straining her arms, James covering them, his chair legs swinging, his strength fading. A poacher tackled him, their bodies crashing into the burning wall, flames catching James's shirt, and Clara screamed, dropping the cub to pull him free, her crowbar smashing the poacher's knee, his howl drowned by the fire. The cub roared, small but fierce, limping to Lily, its body pressed against her, a protector despite its wounds. The tunnel's entrance loomed, but a poacher blocked it, his rifle aimed, and Clara dove, tackling him, her crowbar wrenching the gun away, her fists pounding his face, blood mixing with soot. Lily dragged the cub into the tunnel, her small hands steady, whispering, "Come on," as James staggered after, his shirt smoldering, his wound bleeding freely. The lion's roar shook the savannah, its form a blur, charging the rangers, drawing their fire, giving the family a chance. Clara followed. Her crowbar dropped, the flare's light fading, the poachers regrouping, their shouts rising. The tunnel was narrow, its walls damp, the air cooler but heavy with fear, and Clara's flashlight flickered, her heart pounding as she heard boots above. Poachers searching the ruins. The cub's growls guided them, its strength a miracle. And Lily's voice echoed, "We're almost there," her knife scraping the walls, the tunnel's exit a faint glow. James collapsed, his breath ragged, and Clara knelt, tearing her shirt to bind his wound, her tears falling, the cub nuzzling him, its warmth a spark of life. A hum broke the silence, a vehicle. Not the poacher's jeep, its engine steady, its headlights sweeping the savannah. "Conservation team," Clara whispered, hope flaring. Her flare signal answered. The tunnel's exit opened to a clearing, the team's truck visible, armed rangers leaping out, their shouts cutting through the night, firing at the poachers, their bullets precise, driving them back. The lion's roar faded, its form vanishing into the grass, bloodied but alive. Its fight won. Clara carried the cub, Lily supporting James, their bodies battered but unbroken. the team's flashlights guiding them to safety, the savannah's fire a fading nightmare, the cubs' roar a testament to their survival. The Savannah night pulsed with the roar of the conservation team's truck, its headlights cutting through the smoke and chaos, a lifeline for the Harris family as they stumbled from the smuggling tunnel. Clara cradling the lion cub, its bandaged leg trembling, Lily supporting James, his arm bleeding, his face pale but defiant. The lodge behind them was a smoldering ruin, flames licking the sky, the poachers' shouts fading as the team's rangers fired, their bullets driving the hunters into the grass, their jeep a twisted wreck from the lion's fury. The cub's growls were soft but steady, its eyes bright, a spark of life in the darkness, while Lily's knife, still clutched in her singed hand, gleamed with her resolve, her 10-year-old courage a beacon. Clara's lungs burned, her arm aching from the poacher's slash, her empty pistol left in the inferno, but her eyes locked on the team's leader, a woman in a khaki vest, her rifle raised, shouting orders to secure the area. "You're the ones who," called the leader barked, her flashlight sweeping Clara's bloodied face, the cub in her arms, James's staggering form. Clara nodded, her voice hoarse. "Poachers. They're after the cub." Her words cut by a cough, smoke choking her throat. The leader's eyes softened, her hands signaling medics, who rushed forward, their kits clanking. One kneeling beside James, staunching his wound, another checking the cub, its growls growing stronger under gentle hands. Lily clung to Clara, her braid caked with ash, her voice fierce. "Where's the big lion?" her eyes scanning the grass, where the lion's roars had fallen silent, its bloodied form last seen dodging rangers' bullets. The team's leader frowned, her radio crackling. Rangers reported a male lion wounded. Dangerous. They're tracking it. Clara's heart sank, her grip on the cub tightening. The lion had saved them, its fight a shield, and now it was hunted. "You can't let them kill it," she pleaded, her voice raw, stepping forward despite the medic's protest. The leader hesitated, her eyes flicking to the cub, then to Lily, whose tears welled but didn't fall. "We'll try," she said, her voice low, turning to her radio, barking. "Hold fire on the male. It's protective, not hostile." The medics lifted James onto a stretcher, his hand gripping Clara's, his voice weak. "Keep them safe." His eyes on the cub, on Lily, on the savannah where the lion fought. The team's rangers fanned out, their flashlights sweeping, capturing 2 poachers, their wrists cuffed, their rifles confiscated. But the leader's absence gnawed at Clara. The scarred poacher, dragged away by the lion, was still out there, a shadow in the night. The cub stirred, its small roar echoing, and Lily knelt beside it, her knife dropped, her hand stroking its fur, whispering, "You're gonna see him again," her words a promise. A ranger approached, his face grim. "We found the male wounded, half a mile out. Sedation team's on it." Clara's breath caught, her eyes meeting Lily's, hope flaring but fragile. The team's truck roared to life, medics loading James, the cub placed in a padded crate, its growls steady, its strength a miracle. Clara and Lily climbed in, the savannah blurring past, the lodge's flames a distant glow, the poacher's threat fading but not gone. The truck stopped at a clearing, the sedation team's van parked, their tranquilizer guns ready, the lion's massive form visible in the grass, bloodied but standing, its mane a crown, its eyes locked on the truck, as if scenting the cub. Lily's gasp broke the silence, her hand on the crate, the cub's roar answering, a call across the night. The rangers aimed, darts flying, the lion staggering, its roar fading, its body slumping, sedated but alive. Clara's tears fell, her hand on Lily's shoulder. The cub's crate opened, its small form limping to the lion, nuzzling its mane, a reunion that broke the team's silence. The leader's voice cut through. "We're taking them to the reserve, both of them." Her tone firm, her eyes on Lily, who stood taller, her voice clear. Tell everyone what happened. They can't kill lions anymore. The leader nodded, her radio buzzing, relaying the story. The cub's survival a spark to challenge the kill order. James, stabilized, stirred on the stretcher, his hand finding Clara's, his voice a whisper. We did it. His eyes on the cub, on the lion, on their daughter, whose courage had carried them. The poachers' radios crackled in the distance, a reminder of the scarred leader's escape. But the team's rangers were closing in, their searchlights sweeping the grass. The truck rolled toward the reserve, the cub's crate beside Lily, its roars a melody of survival. The lion loaded into the van, its sedation temporary, its spirit unbroken. Clara's arm throbbed, her heart full, the savannah's stars above a promise of dawn. The team's leader leaned in, her voice soft. You're not just saving them, and you're changing things. Her words a weight, a call to fight on. Lily's eyes gleamed, her hand on the cub, her voice a vow. We'll make sure they're safe. Her 10-year-old heart a fire that would burn beyond the night. The family's bond with the lions a light of hope in a world of shadows. The African dawn bathed the conservation reserve in golden light, the air alive with the calls of birds and the distant roars of the lion, now safe within its fenced sanctuary. Its wounds healing, its mane a proud crown as it stood beside the cub, whose bandaged leg no longer dragged. Its playful bounds a testament to survival. Clara Harris stood at the reserve's edge, her arm in a sling, her face bruised but serene, holding Lily's hand, the 10-year-old's braids swinging, her eyes bright as she watched the cub tumble in the grass, its small roars echoing with life. James leaned on a crutch beside them, his arm bandaged, his face etched with exhaustion but pride, his gaze fixed on the lion, whose amber eyes met his, a silent bond forged in the fire of that savannah night. The lodge was gone, reduced to ash, but the family's fight had sparked a movement, their story spreading across the continent, carried by the conservation team's reports. Lily's plea to save the lions a rallying cry. The reserve buzzed with activity, rangers patrolling, medics checking the cub, volunteers building new enclosures, their voices mingling with the savannah's pulse, a harmony born of courage. Clara's heart swelled, her hand brushing the satellite phone in her pocket, its dead battery a relic of their desperation. Her call to the team, the spark that saved them. The poachers were in custody, their scarred leader captured days later, his trafficking ring dismantled, the reserve's rangers relentless in their pursuit, their rifles now protecting rather than hunting. Lily knelt, her fingers tracing the cub's crate, left open as a symbol, her knife long discarded, her voice soft. You're home now. Her words a promise kept. The lion's roar rumbled, its massive form pacing the enclosure, its eyes lingering on the family. A final glance that felt like gratitude, its mane catching the sunlight as it turned, guiding the cub deeper into the reserve. Their bond unbroken. James's hand found Clara's, his voice rough. We did more than survive. His eyes on Lily, whose courage had carried them, her defiance a light in the darkness. The team's leader approached, her khaki vest dusty, her face warm. You've changed the game, she said, handing Clara a letter, an invitation to lead a campaign, human-wildlife coexistence, inspired by their fight, backed by global donors, its logo a lion and a child, hand in paw. Lily's eyes gleamed, her voice fierce. We'll do it. Her 10-year-old heart, a fire that would burn beyond the savannah. Her dream of a world where lions roamed free, now shared by thousands. The reserve's gates opened, visitors arriving, their cameras flashing, not for trophies, but for hope. Their voices a chorus of support, a stark contrast to the lodge's isolation, the poacher's gunfire, the ranger's kill order. Clara's tears fell, her arm around Lily, the cub's playful roar a melody, the lion's strength a reminder of their own. James hobbled forward, his crutch steady, his voice clear. This is for them. His gesture encompassing the lions, the reserve, the future they'd fought for. The campaign launched days later. The family at its heart, their story told in villages, cities, screens across the world. Lily's words, they're not monsters, they're family. A mantra for change. The kill order repealed, rangers retrained, poaching laws tightened. The savannah stretched beyond the reserve, its grass whispering of battles won, and the family returned. Not to the lodge, but to a new outpost, its walls strong, its windows wide, a place to watch the lions, to teach, to heal. Lily ran ahead, her laughter mingling with the cubs' roars. Now a juvenile, its legs strong, its play a dance of freedom. The lion, older but unbowed, watched from a hill, its eyes meeting Clara's. A final acknowledgement before it turned, vanishing into the grass, its pride waiting, its legacy secure. Clara's hand found James's, their wounds a map of their fight, their love a shield for Lily, whose voice carried on the wind. We'll keep you safe. Her promise a vow to the savannah, to the lions, to the world. The outpost radio crackled. News of another reserve opening, funded by their campaign, its gates ready for more cubs, more lions, more hope. Volunteers gathered, their faces young and old, their hands planting trees, building fences, their work a bridge between man and beast. Clara's arm healed, her nurse's hands now teaching others. James's strength returning, his crutch gone, his stories of that night a call to action. Lily stood taller, her braid a banner, her eyes on the horizon where the savannah stretched, its secrets safe, its lions free. The family's bond with the lions was a symbol, their fight a spark, their campaign a flame that would burn for generations, a harmony born of sacrifice, courage in love. The savannah's heartbeat, a song of coexistence, their legacy a light that would never fade. A family's courage saves a lion cub, forging a bond with the wild against poachers. Thank you for listening. Share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bells for our latest heart-pounding tales.